breakfast puppies?
Welcome to Have Movies Will Game, the only podcast on the globe where we take you, our friendly listener, through the best and worst movies of yesterday and today, and then discuss ways that you can play them at your gaming table. In every episode, our intrepid hosts, Matthew, Dusty, and Nathanael, will filibuster fondly over facts and feelings of your favorite films, and then get to the glorious gaming goodness, giving game masters great gimmicks on generating golden genius. Have Movies Will Game, brought to you through the electronic wonder of the internet. Now, let's start the show!
I don't want to do the intro for this.
Oh, please do.
This movie.
You've been like so like vehemently hating fucking Kevin Costner
right now.
Yeah,
I don't.
Like a knight in shining armor.
My
From
notes here read like my notes read like a fucking hate crime. I mean, it's just
This movie was a fucking hate crime.
I going into this, I was like, no, this is guys, this is a good movie. Remember, this is from our childhood, and there's a reason why it stays nestled in our childhood.
So those of you who have been listening for a long time may remember that I have always had a passionate hate for Kevin Costner. This movie was the genesis of that because Kevin Costner is a piece of talentless shit. Now, you two disagreed with me.
No. I did not disagree.
You did at the time.
You did at the time. Yeah.
No,
you did
I
at
was
the time.
kind of.
It's on record.
I was
We
kind
can
of.
go
Yeah, we can go back and listen to
tape.
almost every single.
I'm pretty sure I was meh the whole time.
There's
I've
two
never
things
been
that
a
we
huge
always
Kevin
bring up
Costner
in
fan.
every episode. Either it's something that touches Star Wars in some way, or it's his seething hatred for Kevin Costner.
And I just think it's funny.
I just want to know, what are your thoughts about him as an actor now, after watching this
I've never actually thought Kevin Costner was a good actor.
portion of a movie?
Honestly, it depends on the movie. I will agree
All right,
that he is not that good of an actor, but there are like his sports movies I kind of like.
We're like a minute into this. We should introduce ourselves.
Okay, and we have a special guest here tonight. But everyone, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Dusty.
And I'm Nathaniel, and joining us tonight,
My name's Marcus.
and you're listening to Have Movies Will Game.
The Costner episode.
Wasn't
The Robin Hood Prince of Thieves episode. Which is, I'm sorry.
It's going to be the Costner episode.
Yeah, it's going to be the hatred of Costner.
For the record, spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, what rock have you been living under?
just don't.
You should pause it, go find your copy of it.
It's
set it
streaming on
fire,
Amazon.
and then come back and listen to us.
Go watch the old 50s Errol Flynn one instead. Don't
Watch the TV show.
The bent tin sword that he fights with through 3/4 of that movie is better than Kevin Costner giving any line. In fact, the only time in this whole movie that Kevin Costner sounds legit is when he is making racist fun of his friend.
Yeah.
That's the only time where it sounds like he's not reading off a fucking index card. Is
No,
when
I'll
he's being
agree
a
with that.
racist piece of shit.
Yeah, well, like we noted before, it's like I was always like, this is a good movie. We're going to enjoy it. Cool that we're going to do it. And then rewatching it, oh my God, this movie is barely watchable.
Yeah, what do you think made this movie barely watchable, Dusty?
Oh, there's a whole lot. Just all of it just does not.
If you had to pick one, what would that be?
that doesn't. It would be his acting. Just a straight up acting.
His acting, you say? Would you say he's not a good actor?
In
Dusty?
this movie, I would say he is not a good actor. This is not.
But this was at his prime, Dusty. This was when Kevin Costner could do no wrong. So
No.
if
His
Kevin
prime would have been
Costner was a shit actor
His
in this
prime,
movie.
in my opinion, would have been Field of Dreams and The Untouchables. Those are his prime.
Why
Serious.
Why were the 90s obsessed with Kevin Costner?
The 90s were obsessed
How
with
did this
bad.
happen? How did that happen? There were many things in the 90s that were good. And yet Kevin Costner stands firm as one of those terrible things that I can't explain the popularity of, next to Jams and Reebok high tops. Why was Kevin Costner so popular?
I honestly don't know. I mean, it goes into like the cult of ignorance thing. I mean, the lowest common denominator of films.
So I would like to at least take a moment to talk about some good things before we descend down this ever infinitely rolling hill of evil.
I want to
I want to talk about the music. Let's open with the music.
Oh yeah, the Jurassic Park music.
The music from this, for me as a gamer, especially this and the Last of the Mohican soundtrack, these two albums were the cornerstones of my gaming background music for games that I would run, because it was just catchy, it was fun, it was adventurous, it was fun gaming music.
Yeah, I never did that. This movie was dead to me on arrival.
I would try.
Everything about it is unclean and tainted.
Yeah, I would try to run games with the soundtrack, and it just didn't work. It was too happy. It was too peppy. It was too snappy.
Well, that's why you can't run a game with just one soundtrack.
Well, no, I understand
have to get a bunch of things and mix them in together and
I
then
get
get them
that.
on random play.
I get that.
Yeah.
Set the mood.
I was one of those lucky kids that, despite being poor, had a hand-me-down 40 disc CD changer.
Nice.
So that's how my gaming music was. So I just put a bunch of discs in and hit random play, and it would go.
Oh, that would make for some interesting scenes for gameplay.
Yeah, if you accidentally leave in the porn, suddenly you're like, okay.
Everything changes. So you're in a local bar, and it has a sauna. Maidens everywhere, or lads if you'd like. Depending on your thing.
Yeah.
Roll for, okay, no.
That's a different kind of initiative roll, I think.
Right.
No, this Costner in this movie, his Robin Hood was poorly styled after rewatching it, and one of the things I picked up the most, and I know you will agree with me, Matthew, is that it's just his Robin Hood is completely inconsistent as a character.
No, he's not. He's a spoiled little rich boy through the whole thing.
Well,
in
the beginning, when he's in jail, he's like, "I'm going to sacrifice my hand for my buddy, for my wartime mate." Yeah,
where he looks like the dirty hippie, like frazzled hair.
Exactly.
And Morgan Freeman's got on the do-rag, hanging out with him.
And in the 90s, when racism was still amusing.
Right.
You know?
And he's willing to sacrifice his hand.
Held on to
and
that
then
throughout.
As soon as they get to his home, which, by the way, is like a fucking 65-mile walk, they wouldn't make it in a couple of hours. He all of a sudden he starts making fun of everybody and everything and being a petulant child. It's inconsistent.
Well, his friend was dead.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Honestly, everything about Kevin Costner's performance in this movie was garbage.
I liked at the very beginning when he was running. He's gasping and wheezing, and he kind of sounds like an overweight 8-year-old girl. He's giving these noises.
Just waiting for him to stop and take like an orange slice. Although they did at one point. Didn't they stopped and suddenly fruit?
Yes, in the alleyway, Morgan Freeman's like getting fruit and they're eating it,
I expected him to hit his fucking inhaler.
This is what Willie's gold.
Oh man.
I listened to that episode.
And I'll say this.
Thank you.
Brian Blessed deserved better.
I think Brian Blessed should have played the part of the Friar Tuck.
Oh my God, you're right. You are absolutely right.
He was the father, right?
However, I will say that there are 3 actors, I think, that owned this movie.
Morgan Freeman.
No, not Morgan Freeman. All he did this whole movie was roll his eyes.
There were actually, I disagree.
Morgan Freeman,
he had a couple really good lines.
I don't think Morgan Freeman's a good actor.
Really?
Morgan Freeman, Sean Connery, Jack Nicholson, all they are is a voice and a pleasant face. They are 100% driven by. They don't do anything different in any movie they're in. They're just, I'm Morgan Freeman. I'm here to do a thing. I'm Azim. I'm your servant. Damn you, white man. I'm the wizard in the Lego movie. I'm Morgan Freeman. I'm doing everything I normally do. But no, Michael McShane played Friar Tuck.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Geraldine McEwen as the witch. And Michael Wincott as the Guy of Gisborne.
Right.
Who basically reprised his role in The Count of Monte Cristo.
Is there something wrong with his throat?
And then The Crow. And then he played in The Crow. The bad guy in The Crow.
He sounds like he smoked a lot
for
years.
He was the bad guy in Strange Days. And he was the voice of death in
fucking Strange
Darksiders 2.
Oof.
He's the main character.
That was a rough movie.
No, the video game, Darksiders.
I'm talking about Strange Days.
Oh, Strange Days was a fucking great movie.
That was a rough movie.
Yeah. It's appropriate and it hits the nail on the head right now with the shit that we're experiencing.
I have to go back and rewatch it. So
you didn't like Alan Rickman in this?
Alan Rickman, he was trying too hard to save the movie.
So
Well, somebody had
the
to.
funny
I
thing
mean, a
about
lot of
that
money
is
went into this thing.
he would not. He turned down the role apparently 3 times. He was like, I don't want to do it. It's kind of like,
where's the money?
He even said like, this character as
I
it's
want
written
more
is
money.
a little like over the edge for me. So the director said, listen, you can do this character however you want if you sign on. And he's like, okay, done. I'm in.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. So
I was in
Die.
Die Hard. I'm better than this.
There's this one scene where he runs down and he's praying to an upside down cross, and I'm like, you guys know an upside down cross isn't blasphemous, right?
Right.
You guys know there's nothing fucking satanic about an upside down cross. You hot topic wannabe.
I just,
I agree.
I-
And the witch.
I just
Yeah.
like
I
where
just
he
didn't
starts.
buy a lot of that. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is so silly.
I just like his rages. I thought his rages were very well done. Where he's
the original
idly
Kylo
stabbing
Ren.
meat,
Yeah.
and then harder stabbing meat. Or like when he's running down the hall and he's just whipping people in the face with his robe of schwack.
That was another one of Geraldine's great moments where he's like, bah, 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 bah. Something vexes thee, my lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
He apparently had worked on the line, you, my chambers, 10 o'clock, you, 10:15.
Bring a friend.
Bring a friend. And like the line apparently that was in the movie originally in the script was so like not funny, and so it was one that he changed it. And there were people on set filming that were like had to put their hands over their mouths because they were laughing so hard. And they did it in they didn't do a second take of it, but it was perfect. It was perfectly done. But he had to change so much of that character in the script to get it to where it was. And there's one point where Kevin Costner demanded that he be edited, that Rickman, thank you, be edited down because he felt that he was chewing up too much scenery and that he was overacting
He was
Kevin
the star of the
Costner.
show, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
He was the
Freeman.
major
Yeah,
star.
I mean, they ran the show.
I
don't
liked
know
Morgan
about
Freeman's line. He's like, how did your uneducated kind ever take Jerusalem? And he's looking through the telescope and poking.
That was a
funny
fun moment.
fucking scene.
Yeah, definitely.
Friar Tuck owned every scene that he was in.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like, I'm just going to devour this set with my face.
I think Little John was kind of filler.
Little John was
I felt like
okay.
that.
He wasn't terrible.
He
but
gave he gave good husband cries when his
Yeah.
family was in danger. That was
True.
some first rate.
True.
Like you felt it. Like even now.
He felt like small folk. You know, he did a good job of playing that.
You can see
They
that.
were really all just peasants
Yeah.
who were in a state of rebellion,
Right.
as opposed to fucking Will Scarlett, Kevin Costner,
Christian Slater.
Kevin Bacon, Kevin Slater,
Fake
whatever.
Jack Nicholson.
Christian Bacon.
Christian Bacon.
I'm upset because Daddy didn't love me enough to give me the
Right.
Loxley name.
I'm still in a movie because I was in Gleaming the Cube and Heathers.
And
You know.
that character made no sense.
And pump
Right,
up the
because he
volume,
was
and pump up
very
the volume.
Gleaming the Cube.
It was very-
Heathers, Pump Up the Volume.
But it had
Christian
nothing
Slater.
to do with Will Scarlett from
Yeah.
Robin Hood Legend. Like,
Yeah,
Whatever.
I feel like they brought him in just so
they
they
had
could
him
draw
sing a little
audience,
song.
You know,
He sang a tiny little song to hint at the fact that Will Scarlett was a musician.
Right.
And that's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Mhm. I did a rhyme. Look at me.
Yep.
I'm so great, and I've got a rope.
Ugh.
You know,
I got floppy red hair.
it wasn't even his butt.
No,
But he's swimming.
no, it wasn't.
He had a butt stand-in.
Yeah, he had a
just
butt
in
stand-in.
Dances with Wolves.
Mhm.
Wow.
His flabby, pasty white butt was probably too.
flabby, pasty, and white.
Yeah, do more squats, Kevin Costner. You fucking suck.
Or go to acting school.
You think it'd be nicer with all that baseball, you know?
You know,
I regret this decision.
Remember how I said Keanu Reeves couldn't act? Keanu Reeves could outact Kevin Costner in a hot second.
I saw something with him recently that makes me feel otherwise. Only because
Is
he
that
did
the one with Mila Kunis? The new?
No, the new one he did with Winona Ryder.
Oh, that's who I meant.
And it's
I meant
just
that one.
them having dialogue this whole movie.
They go
I
off for a
can't remember
wedding,
the
yeah.
name of it because I hated it. It was just horrible. But
So for this movie, you had Christian Slater as Scarlett. You could have initially had
Christian Bacon.
Johnny Depp because he
No,
was
dear
he was,
fucking God.
he was tapped to play Will Scarlett.
was it the right time period for Johnny Depp?
Oh,
Apparently
yeah,
not.
yeah. Hold on. What year was this? 91?
Yeah, this was 91. So that would have been
91 Johnny
Crybaby.
Depp was way cooler than
Yeah, that would have been
current
Cry.
age
That
Johnny
would have been
Depp.
Crybaby.
But he was more
Yeah.
TV at the time though, wasn't he?
yeah, he was on
He was more
21
popular
Jump
for
Street.
that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
that.
So I almost feel like maybe that's one of those people maybe they wouldn't consider because he was too TV at the time, because they really did have a separation around that time period.
Yeah.
Christian Slater was still riding, Gleaming the Key, Pump Up the Volume, or was that later? No, it might have been a couple years later.
Another actor that was tapped before Kevin Costner to play Robin Hood, who thought the plot was too contrived, ironically went on to play the role of Robin Hood later in Men in Tights.
Oh, sure.
Carrie Elwes?
Carrie Elwes was tapped initially to play.
Oh, this would have been such a better movie.
Right?
Look, Robin Hood Men in Tights was a better movie because of this movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
And Sam Neill of Jurassic Park, he was supposed to play the sheriff instead of...
That might have been okay.
Yeah.
Instead of Rickman.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson was offered Robin Hood also, but he had just turned down Hamlet and didn't want
He
to
did
want
do
it.
Hamlet.
Yep, the 1990 version of Hamlet.
Remember
so he
when
said
Mel
no.
Gibson was not shitty?
Yeah, when he wasn't
when
like
everybody
an
liked him.
anti-Semitic piece of shit.
In the 90s, when everyone liked Mel Gibson.
When everybody had the
reason.
same hair, because I think he had the power mullet going on back then too.
Sean Connery
I didn't. But
Sean Connery was offered the part of Lord Loxley originally, but he had passed saying that he had been playing a lot of fathers in recent years and didn't want to have that father.
I want to be a love interest.
I want to play a 65-year-old king when the king's really only 35.
I want to play a Frenchman.
Look, now I'm a Russian.
Let's see. So here's a bunch of other people that were supposed to play in the movie that were tapped, but they ultimately didn't get it. John Finch.
I don't know who that is.
Michael Gambon.
Don't know who that is.
He plays Dumbledore in all the Harry Potter movies.
Okay.
John Hurt, Ian McKellen, and Oliver Reed, and Patrick Stewart were considered for the Sheriff of Nottingham.
I would love to see Patrick Stewart as a villain. That would make me happy.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
I
have seen him.
What did
there
he
was,
do?
I believe, Green Room recently, where it was like a
it was like
white
a horror
power
movie.
skinhead movie thing, and Patrick Stewart played this evil.
He's a very, very big
white
villain,
power guy who was like behind the kids who were skinheads. He was like the money,
right?
So it was actually a pretty weird movie to see Patrick Stewart playing that kind of part, because he was a great villain. He was believable in the part. So I'd definitely check that out if you ever get a chance to.
Initially, Robin Wright was supposed to play Maid Marian, but she became pregnant.
Also, cheekbones you can cut yourself on.
Yeah, she became pregnant and had to step out. So Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio stepped in.
Definitely looking for cheekbones in this movie.
How many names? How many names for?
For what?
Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth, and her last name is Mastrantonio. Mastranton.
Is that one word or two words?
That's one word. Mastrantonio is one word.
Okay.
That's probably why I never had a crush on her. I couldn't remember her name.
Is she an assassin? Why does she get her middle name? Assassins get middle names.
You have a good point. That is a very good point. I don't think so. I don't know.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt is an assassin.
Yeah, look at him.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Let's see. Elizabeth Hurley.
Has Joseph Gordon-Levitt played an assassin?
Not yet.
He should.
He hasn't gotten caught.
Well,
He's got that smile.
No, Looper.
Yeah.
He kind of played. He kind of sort of an assassin in
young
Looper.
Bruce Willis.
No, he wasn't at that. Well, I guess
Not
so.
believable.
Yeah, with all that prosthetic stuff. Yeah,
Good movie, but not believable.
Elizabeth Hurley was supposed to play Maid Marian also. Some of these names I don't know. Patsy Kensit.
Oh, you don't know Pat? So who the fuck is that?
Nicole Kidman was supposed to play.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was coming just off of Days of Thunder, I think. Matilda May, Amanda Page, Jolie Richardson, and then Ali Sheedy of Breakfast Club was going to play
Marian.
Which one was she? Was she the goth?
Yeah, she was the goth girl.
She was
the basket
shaking
case.
my hair.
Sophie Marceau also was tapped to play Maid Marian.
Sophie Marceau.
She played in Braveheart. Yeah.
You know, I for years I thought it was Sophie Marceau in this movie, and then I watched it again, and I was like, "Oh shit, this isn't the woman that I thought it was." That's how much I remember.
Incidentally,
this film.
she did a great job as well.
Yeah,
She was okay.
The 15 named lady.
Yeah.
She was good.
She was for a movie that basically was like a high school play.
Yeah,
with a little bit better scenery.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think the BBC Robin Hood has been a better show. Whatever the most recent one in the last
I like the
decade.
older one too.
It was the TV show, the Robin Hood TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good.
And there was another one after that, wasn't there? Another Robin Hood that was more recent.
Oh yeah, that one.
The Disney Robin Hood is better than this.
This is true. No,
Disney Robin Hood is one of my,
Yeah.
seriously,
Russell Crowe had
that song gets
Robin
me
Hood.
emotional.
Yeah.
Russell
Crowe's
that's right.
Robin Hood
That's right.
with Kate Blanchett. Yeah. That was
It was
travesty.
just as awesome.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. So what do we got next week? Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.
And we're done. Click. So this had a budget of $48 million in 1991.
How much of that was fucking Costner's?
Probably a lot. Opening weekend, it made $25 million. The gross USA was 165, and as of May 2012, cumulative worldwide gross for this, including all ticket sales and all DVDs, everything, almost 400 million.
Jesus, $500 million on this fucking turd.
Yes.
Yeah. We didn't have a lot of great entertainment, I guess, back then. I don't know.
Dude.
It is the second highest grossing film of 1991, immediately behind Terminator 2.
That's when I graduated high school. No wonder. We were a bunch of fucking idiots back
91,
then.
I was a freshman. That was my freshman year.
That was around the same time Slayer came out with South of Heaven, I think. So, yeah we were all fucking idiots. Should I watch the language?
No,
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I already called this, what was this? This abortion of a movie.
Right, that's true.
I think we're past the PG rating.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is I don't do this often on this show, guys. I apologize for this is a great movie, guys, because
that's not enough for me. I need you to apologize for your love of Kevin Costner.
I will do that. I am apologizing for my love of
just start from the beginning and say it into the mic clearly.
I am apologizing for my love of Kevin Costner films.
There you go.
All right. I don't do it often. I don't apologize. Normally, even with Valerian, I was like, "No, guys, it's going to be good." And I was steadfast on that.
I loved that episode too. I was agreeing with you guys so much.
There were parts where I'm like, "No, it's good. I promise, it's good."
Oh yeah, it was great.
That was just another one where you kept waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
But every line, he fucking bleated into the microphone. It felt like just before they started rolling the camera, he put down his index card, which was the first time he had ever seen the fucking thing, and then just delivered the line.
Well, he did win an award for this.
What?
He
Best
won,
fake butt?
He won Worst Actor Award at the Golden Raspberries.
I feel better.
Good.
While Christian Slater received a nomination for Worst Supporting Actor ever for his performance in this film and Mobsters.
Imagine that.
But lost to Dan Aykroyd that year for his role in Nothing But Trouble.
You know what's amusing is that I have seen Nothing But Trouble 5 times.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a funny movie.
It's got a style of comedy that not everybody's into.
Yeah.
But people always bash it as one of the worst movies ever.
It's got John Candy. Come on.
John Candy. It's really good.
I could care less about Dan Aykroyd.
Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd.
Demi Moore.
A really good group. Yeah. Anyway.
A toy line did release Kenner. Released a whole bunch of figures.
That was the death knell for Kenner.
Yeah. Notably, all but one of the figures were slightly modified from Kenner's well-known Superpowers line, while Friar Tuck, as well as the vehicles in place that were modified from Star Wars Return of the Jedi toys.
Wow.
Slightly modified.
I remember that because the Ewok village was used in this as
all the
fucking as his
Sherwood Forest.
Yeah.
I actually own the Robin Hood figure at my home in Alabama.
Oh, I was going to say,
my closet, still in the package.
Yep. Now you have to make a pilgrimage to burn it.
I don't remember why. My mom was really into buying action figures and keeping them in the package because she was she thought they would be viable someday.
Not that one.
Yeah.
That said, I also still have the original 4 Ninja Turtles.
There you go.
I made that mistake with Independence Day.
I also have the original 5 Power Rangers, and one of them she had to order from her cousin in Japan.
I would have rather watched the Power Rangers than this.
Oh, the new Power Rangers?
I would have rather watched the show.
Yeah. It's Morphin time.
Look, say what you want about Morgan Freeman. He may do his Morgan Freeman thing, and that's him being Morgan Freeman. But he is also a classically trained actor. You can count on him, at the very least, to be Morgan Freeman.
I'm a classically trained Morgan Freeman. I'm going to play this role in everything I do. When I'm the villain in the movie Wanted, I'm still going to sound like Morgan Freeman.
Every actor in this was a trained, successful actor. even Christian Bacon. Now, there was one glaring fault, and it was Costner.
Okay, so of the list of people that were supposed to be Robin Hood, all right, what do you think?
Give me the list again.
The list was
Tom Selleck, right? I do Tom Selleck.
The mustache alone.
Cary Elwes was tapped, but he turned it down. Let's see, Mel Gibson.
Hell, I would have taken him too.
He had the right hair.
Yeah.
It fit with everybody.
He was surprisingly good in Hamlet.
Yeah, that is my as dicey and as mismatched as that version of Hamlet is. It is my favorite version of Hamlet.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
And I'm always going to have that special place for him with all the Mad Max films.
Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus. Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet is the best.
No, it's not.
Honestly,
sorry.
I have to disagree, and I'm a huge Kenneth Branagh fan.
So am
I. Like his Much Ado About Nothing, fantastic. Henry V. That's a great
Hamlet's
movie, and you get more Brian Blessed. You always get Brian Blessed with Kenneth Branagh.
Need Jesus.
Keep voting close.
Goodness gracious. Oh,
it's the best
my
I can
goodness.
do.
It was directed by Kevin Reynolds, who also did The Count of Monte Cristo, one of my favorite movies.
And a great sandwich.
Yes. And also another one of movies that you just have a seething distaste for. The same director put Kevin Costner in his wonderful global apocalyptic opus, Waterworld. Same director.
So he's got a lot to answer
which
for.
Is funny because it was really funny
First
that
up
he
against the wall when the revolution comes.
It was funny that this director, Kevin Reynolds, put Kevin Costner in another one of his movies because the biggest quote that Kevin Reynolds is known for is that Kevin Costner should only act in movies that he directs. That way he can work with his favorite actor and director.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I like that.
That's a good backhanded thing right there.
Yeah,
Whatever happened to Kevin Costner?
Who cares?
The last film I remember seeing him in was where he played a serial killer, and he actually kind of did good with that.
He's done a couple of really dark movies.
Exactly.
He's gone into like these sports movies where he plays like a person that works with the draft, or he's playing an aging pitcher. But he's also doing these like weird. Like
so has-been. He plays has-beens. Well.
Yes, but he's also been playing like serial killers. He did a movie with Ryan Reynolds a couple years ago where
Reynolds still has a career,
Reynolds was an assassin and he was dying, and his consciousness was put into Kevin Costner's body. I think it's called Assassin.
That would be unpleasant.
So he gets to run around with he's trying to be Ryan Reynolds, but Kevin Costner.
Sounds like a horror movie to me.
Kill myself. Oh my god!
The Possession of Ben Wilder. It's a
very similar movie that Ryan Reynolds did called I forgot the name of it. Where his conscience he's dying. Ben Kingsley's character is dying, and he has his conscience put into Ryan Reynolds'
which
body.
was probably seen, whereas the other one probably wasn't because Ben Kingsley was in that.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
Sir Ben Kingsley.
This is true. This is true.
I agree.
The screenwriter was Penn Densham, who did a lot of just TV stuff. He did mostly the movie he worked on the Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits. So this was like his first major movie that he got to write the screenplay for.
And then he hung himself.
Yes.
One can hope. I'm honestly not well, no, that's not true. I like to think of myself as not an evil man, but this movie just brought it out. Contempt, hate, rage, just all the things I try to keep down.
Yeah.
Well, there's a little bit of
virulent disgust.
There's a little bit of happiness in it. The
every
song,
time he gets hit in the nuts, I smile. When Maid Marian got him in the nuts, I smile.
That was something about Maid Marian that I didn't like rewatching. In the very beginning, when she attacks Robin, when he comes into her home and he's like, I'm
and
Robin
eventually
Loxley.
burns the arm.
She's like dressed like the Gimp,
right?
Like she's very
people
strong,
under the stairs.
And then by the end of the movie, she's been reverted to this like damsel in distress. Like she went from this very strong warrior type.
Guess which part Kevin Costner edited?
Oh, okay. Good point.
That whole fight made no sense, too.
Right?
Like,
it was kind of silly.
Why did she attack him?
I think it was done much better in the new BBC Robin Hood when Marian is the highwayman or whatever.
Yeah.
But Marian is often put forth as an ass kicker.
Right.
And all of a sudden, for no reason, whenever the sheriff in whichever version of Robin Hood you mean, like gives any interest to Maid Marian, all of a sudden she becomes a helpless damsel in distress.
Right.
Marion is perfectly capable of slipping a knife into his ribs.
Yeah, because I mean, they get a point to say that she had been running that estate her whole life because there were no parents there. There was no one to overlook her. She had no husband, nothing. So she is very strong, very willful woman. And then all of a sudden it's, oh my God, you can't do anything.
Well, I think we have the time period to blame for that too.
I got to say, my favorite version of Maid Marian is that sexy fox lady with her big fat hen companion.
Oh,
That's the best Maid Marian.
Heck
A whole generation of furries came out of that movie.
And thanks for them. Or thank Odin. However, I'm going to piss people off, aren't I?
Probably. It's all right. We do all the time.
Whatever possible,
Actually,
man.
I don't think we've ever gotten any like complaint mail, have we?
We need listeners for that.
So that's good because I listen. So I'm not going to offend me.
Now that is circular. I like that.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
So, any other little tidbits on this
Is there
fucking
anything
treasure
actually
troll?
that we should care about?
Roger Ebert actually praised Morton Freeman on his performance as well as Rickman's, but he, much like you, he completely decried the film as a whole, giving it 2 stars, stating that, quote, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a murky, unfocused, violent, and depressing version of the classic story. The most depressing thing about the movie is that children will attend it expecting to have a good time, end quote.
I liked it when I saw it as a kid.
Yeah,
everyone,
I did too.
Everyone,
Yeah.
But even then, I was like, "Who's this fucking moron?"
Yeah,
All right.
And let's see, 91. I
had the
wanna
Nintendo
say-
game based on the movie, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a bad game.
it was a side scroller, just like
Was it a Lion King?
It was like actually an overhead action game.
Oh, was it?
Huh.
Yeah.
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 I think I was
Were you
17
Robin
when
Hood
it came out.
shooting?
Yeah.
Pip, 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 pip.
Basically.
Yeah.
NES.
Although apparently Kevin Costner is pretty good with an actual bow and arrow. On the first couple of days of filming, the director asked Costner to demonstrate his actual archery skills. And Kevin Costner replied by silently, not saying anything. He just silently fired an arrow straight through a rabbit that had been hanging 30 yards away. But then he said he wouldn't do it again because he didn't want to kill another rabbit.
So did he actually kill a rabbit?
Apparently, it'd been like
would
somebody
hope not, otherwise
hung
it's just
one
sitting
up.
there screaming.
Right?
the way that
What the fuck was going on?
Because you know rabbits scream when
No,
they're
apparently,
Yeah.
apparently from what I read on my mining, like it sounds
Like my brain was thinking fake rabbit in the background, and now suddenly I'm like, are we having some Hassenpfeffer tonight? What's going on?
It sounds like somebody was like, "Ooh, I've caught myself a rabbit," and they like tied a rope around it and hung it from a tree and like swung it.
And later we will have stew. Pretend we're really into
my
this.
precious potatoes.
That means that someone on the set was actually literally from this time period.
Right.
And was just hanging around. Oh, I've caught myself a rabbit. Oh, I'm going to have this for dinner. They're all excited. Then an arrow just appears in the tunnel. They're like, God damn it. God damn you, Kevin Costner. You got fuzzy.
It had huge teeth.
One of the cool things though I did like about like with the editing process with the the iconic where he pulls out the bow and does the long shot.
You can see the blue screen around it now too. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but the one where it's him, the long shot of him, where it goes really not the actual arrow twirling through through the air, but just him pulling out the bow and arrow.
Are you talking the fire arrow bit?
Yeah, that one. That was shot at 400 frames per second, and it's standard is 24, so they get that slow, that iconic look. But yes, now you can see that arrow that's not even twirling; it's staying straight, like a drone. Like
it was.
There's a lot.
It was impressive at the time because everyone went nuts over that particular stunt, which was really just a guy with a fucking cam, the thing. The camera right behind the arrowhead walking it to the target.
Forgetting that that it spins as it fucking goes.
Mm-hmm.
No blades,
They
no
didn't have
bows.
drills back
Leave your
then.
weapons here.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm glad that Alan Rickman still had a career after that.
Oh,
though. That's all I'm saying.
There was a proposed sequel to this movie that would have seen Robin, again, Kevin Costner, set out to rescue a kidnapped King Richard by delivering his ransom, running into Azim again in the process.
Doesn't work. King Richard was actually returning from being ransomed.
I'm telling you, I'm just telling you what it was, but it never was greenlit.
How many times did Richard get ransomed? He was a shit. That's the Lionheart.
Shitty king.
Whoops, captured. Whoops, captured.
By Yule Farnham and Bailey.
No, I've got an outlaw. For an outlaw.
God.
Sorry. Disney Robin Hood line there.
Disney Robin Hood was awesome, though.
Disney Robin Hood was amazing.
I grew up loving that.
Robin Hood
Still
was a great,
that.
inspiring character. Little John was hilarious.
Baloo.
Robin Hood
great.
and Little John.
All of the characters. Oh my God, all of the characters in that was great. Why was there no Prince John in this movie? I was expecting a Prince John, and there was no Prince John.
That was the snake, right?
No, that was
the lion.
the other lion.
Oh,
yeah.
The mangy one.
Yeah.
The one who sucked his thumb and talked about his mother.
Had all the rings on his fingers.
Yeah. I remember now.
Let's just
The mother
go
is
watch
Eleanor
that
of
movie
Aquitaine.
right now.
Next time, I do a podcast on that one. The Disney podcast.
I got to say, though, I've been pushing for this other movie for a long time, and that's okay.
No, this is a note. We got to wrap it up.
It just wiped it straight out of my. A Lion in Winter,
Yes.
the original one, and that is Prince John, Richard the Lionheart, and their dad and their mom, Eleanor of Aquitaine, and all. It's great history of the time, including Richard's illicit affair with King Philip II of France.
Yes.
They had good times. Yeah.
I think I've only seen the newer one.
The newer one is okay.
That's Glenn Close, I think.
The old one is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a star-studded cast before they were stars, and it was half the reason half of them became stars. So, like, it's really good, and we really should follow up that movie after this one fairly soon.
We'll put it in for one of the votes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's the voting coming for the next set of movies?
We have results. We'll go over them at the end of this episode.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move over to the game. I don't want to talk about this shit.
I'm kind of good with that. I'm kind of good with that. So,
all right.
Let's take a break.
In a few moments.
Break
We'll
Kevin Costner. Fucking piece of shit. Hi, everyone. This is your favorite host, Matthew. This week's episode is brought to you by Guardian Games, who we are proud to have as our sponsor. Guardian Games is Portland's largest gaming store. They have almost every game you can think of, be it role-playing, board game, card games, miniature games, even video games. They also have a ton of gaming-related material and some pretty neat swag. I mean, the D20 fuzzy dice that go in your mirror, that's good stuff. If you're 21, you can have a drink in the back at the Critical Sip. Booze makes gaming better. Always has, always will. There's free games back there. You'll love it. They also have a friendly and incredibly knowledgeable staff, and they are the hub of a diverse and friendly gaming community. If you're in Portland, you definitely want to go to Guardian Games.
Well, we're here to try and pick our spirits back up and talk some gaming excitement about this movie that, well, we clearly haven't been that excited about.
Is there a Robin Hood flavored game where Robin Hood immediately dies horribly?
Well, there's plenty of role-playing games where you can die during character creation, but I can't think of one that's Robin Hood themed.
That's really too bad.
But before we get to it, Dusty, tell us about the characters so we can judge them harshly.
We have Kevin Costner playing Mr. Robin Hood himself.
Fuck Kevin Costner. Robin Hood's chaotic good. Let's move on.
and we all know a lot of the movies.
Dances with turds.
Yes. Then we have God himself, Morgan Freeman, who played Azim. Yeah, Bruce Almighty movies.
Lawful good?
Yeah, I would think he'd be lawful good.
He's bound. He's
very much bound.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is very true.
That's pretty easy. Yeah,
kept to his God.
Yeah. He's a good example of lawful good not sucking.
Yeah,
because a lot of old school gamers have this hatred of the lawful good alignment. But the lawful good alignment, to me, is not the most boring alignment. In fact, it's the most realistic.
Yeah.
I think most people that I know don't want to admit it, but they're lawful good. Honestly,
what are you pointing at me for?
I think
you
Matthew,
are lawful good.
Am
Matthew,
I?
Yeah.
I mean, you
from the year, the little more than a year that we've hung out, I think you are lawful good. You have tinges of not, but you always come back around to lawful good.
Do you think it's just because people feel like that's very constrictive? They overdo it in their head as lawful good. Like, I've got to be the radical lawful good.
Because I think the shining example of lawful good is supposed to be Lancelot, even though he was not like the best person. But that
he
is
kind
like
of fucked Arthur's wife. So
Galahad,
not so much.
I think was ultimately.
But I think
the
Lancelot
is
in everyone's head that is the purest person that you could be, even though he wasn't.
Even though
I'm going to stand on this bridge
morals.
for 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, people think lawful good, they think paladins, and they think lawful boring. But
I am the shining light of God.
Fun. Paladins can be great. You can stretch lawful good quite a ways.
I have a time or two.
Yeah.
I think a perfect example of a stretched lawful good is one of my favorite stories is going to be Sir Sparhawk in yeah, he is a very stretched lawful good character.
I agree with David Eddings.
Yeah. Eddings was really good at writing the same book 5 times.
Seriously, man.
Very, very formulaic, yes. Yeah. And then we have Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio as Maid Marian.
Fucking
Maid Marian.
I'm gonna say NPC. She didn't affect things
in this version of the character. I would agree with you.
Not in all versions, but in this, she started out being a character for like a hot second, and then just became
plot device. Regular old extra.
Not a flesh in the crowd, a face in the crowd.
They damseled her.
Yeah.
I would have said, if they had taken that character and actually incorporated her into the Merry Men and brought her into a more powerful role, I would say chaotic good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And with how they started with the character instead of leading into now she's just going to be what we save, part of the treasure.
Yeah. She was part of the treasure.
Well, where do you roll a woman on the loot table? I'm just curious.
Well, I got a game for you.
I saw your eyes.
I'm going to just say
that's
golden.
It was even... No, I got a game for you that has women on the loot table. It's called From Another Time, Another Land. Also known as Fatal, the role-playing game.
From Another Time.
Worst game ever.
No. You've used that a couple of times. You got to pick one. Kevin Costner is my worst. What's your worst?
No, seriously, I think the entire universe will agree. Fatal is the worst game ever made. It's...
Look, if you could see the look in his eyes now, it's like
it's
distant.
Intense.
Like Nathaniel's seen some shit with this game. It's
this is your Vietnam War.
Being back in Vietnam. You're like,
because I see it, and I'm putting that on a mental note in my head right now. Don't play this game.
I love random tables. I love them. Yeah. This game goes overboard. You have an anal circumference table.
Whoa, what?
Now I want to play the game.
That's useful in my career.
Roll for prolapse.
There's a roll for prolapse.
Oh my God.
Why is this game bad?
Oh boy.
100% serious when I say this.
All right, it's called Fatal, you said?
Fatal.
Now we just of maybe the 16 listeners
we just lost our listeners.
Right.
Sales
I think we just lost half of our listeners
and gained 3 quarters with the word prolapse.
Right. Anyone who's seen it knows they don't want to see it.
So I'm serious. The look in your eyes was like distant. Like I've seen some shit, man. You don't know what I'm talking about, man. I've been there. I have seen
1997
things burn on the rings of Saturn. It's there.
I tried to read it.
It's just for the tables, man. Just incorporate it.
It's just for the pictures.
You sit on the trap, roll on the fucking roll on prolapse table.
He went there.
Yeah,
he was gone.
Really then we have
walking through the fields.
Christian Jack Nicholson, Slater.
Fuck that guy.
Playing
Christian
Will Scarlet.
Bacon.
Christian Bacon.
His name is Christian Bacon.
Fuck Kevin Bacon too.
Playing Will
They're
Scarlet.
really interchangeable.
Who honestly, I felt for this movie, most of this movie was NPCs, in my opinion. He is an NPC in this movie.
Well,
he is a side quest NPC.
No,
which sucks because he's the main.
He's not an NPC. What happened is during character creation,
someone was late.
No. During character creation, 2 buddies looked at each other and said, "We want to be from the same village. We want to be brothers. We want that." That's what that is. He wasn't an NPC. He was 2 people who knew each other outside the game, deciding that they want to know each other.
I can see that.
Either that, it was 2 people who showed up at the game session, both decided they want to be human rangers with a specialty in those. and the GM's like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah.
We got noble backgrounds. It's like, God damn it.
You're also a bard.
Yeah.
but a very fucking bad one.
Who's apparently lost his fucking instrument.
And again, it's going back to if we talk about the characters as if the way that they could have been. From Robin Hood's story, Will Scarlet would have been a good bard.
Yeah.
You know how every star of stage and screen has a band that they flirt with at one time? Does Christian Bacon have one?
Oh, probably.
I mean, how did he get cast as the bard?
Gleaming the Cube, those movies that he did.
He was popular in the 90s.
That was it. I think it was the draw for the young audience.
Yeah,
they wanted to make sure girls were coming besides their moms
he
to see Kevin Costner.
Before Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, I don't think he had won his Oscar yet for Driving Miss Daisy for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh yeah, this was probably some.
I think this was like a year or two before Driving Miss Daisy.
All I know is that he
became Morgan Freeman.
No, for sure.
He was. Yeah, I was watching their credits roll, and it's like Kevin Costner, Christian Slater. What? He's such a tiny role in this movie.
Same with he's also in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, and he gets a top billing for that. Like
I don't even remember him in Star Trek.
I remember
it's a scene where Kirk is like recording his thoughts, and his door opens. Sir, we're coming up on like the neutral zone or something. That's Christian Slater. He turns around and walks away. It's the only fucking time you see him in the movie, and he got like a top billing for it.
Yeah.
It's for like such a famous actor, Dusty, you could at least get his name right. Christian Bacon.
It's like when we watch the Transformers.
Middle name Maple.
It's one of the few names I have never said incorrectly. Please, God, Lord in heaven, give me that for tonight.
It's like when we watch the Transformers, and all of those people were billed before Frank Welker and Peter Cullen. But Frank Welker and Peter Cullen are
Peter Cullen is the Transformer.
Right.
How would you make a Transformers movie and bill anyone before Megatron and Optimus? Oh, that's right. You're going to kill him.
You know what?
Sometimes we put Marky Mark in, and he used to do underwear.
Of everything that I was just completely with the Transformers movies. Do you want to know what thing that bothered me the most?
They exist.
Well, aside from that,
the exploding robots.
No, it was as a cartoon because of animation style and monetary constraints. Optimus Prime had that thing over, that cover over his mouth, and when it talked, you could see it move up and down.
Right,
and they ruined that by like taking that away in the movies. That bothered me, I think, the most out of Optimus Prime.
Oh, he didn't have his visor.
Yeah, the visor, the upside, the wrong way visor, and then the truck looked different.
Right.
But that's not this movie.
So yeah,
can we just talk about Transformers? Please.
There is a new Bumblebee movie coming.
Pull Robot Age off the show when we can make characters.
Yeah.
All right, then we roll into what was the alignment for Christian Slater? Christian Bacon.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of good.
Yeah.
Then we have Alan Rickman playing the sheriff of Nottingham.
Lawful evil.
Excellent.
Yeah, today we've been talking about this all day, and you've had some great.
It's because I have a hard on for Alan Rickman.
I know you do.
He's great. Yeah.
No, neutral evil.
Yeah,
I'd say that the character is supposed to be lawful evil. This movie made him.
Not
he loses
quite
his
yet,
shit.
But
a number of times.
I'm mixing up my love of Robin Hood lore with my not love
of this movie.
My anti-love.
And then we have the great Mike McShane as the jovial Friar Tuck.
Chaotic neutral. He was unpredictable and insane.
So do you know the song that he was singing as they pull up? Yeah, as they pull up, that is an actual medieval song that was sung, and it was translated by some hoop-to-do scholars into English. So
I know. So that's why I go to school to become a hoop-to-do.
An actual fucking drinking song. I don't know what you said. I didn't hear either of you, but I guarantee I'm when the next words out of my mouth are fuck the both of you. So
I'm just picturing his friar of the hoop-to-do monastery.
Chaotic neutral.
He was one of my favorite.
He was great, but I would have. I honestly, going back and seeing it again, I would have liked to see. Like I said earlier at the top of the show, Brian Blessed play Friar Tuck. He would have been an amazing Friar Tuck. Right. I mean, not to take away from Mike McShane, but because he did an amazing job, but
or maybe even
I would like to have seen either Brian Blessed or John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, John Rhys Davies would have been perfect.
I think anybody would have looked at Davies as
he's a little too Mediterranean,
being solid.
I mean, he doesn't look like he's from England. He has a sallow skin tone.
Good use of that word. Not a lot of people use that word.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Sliders?
Yes.
Yes.
How he kept getting mistaken. One of the running gags was he kept getting mistaken for Pavarotti.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not Pavarotti.
And then we have Michael Wincott playing Sir Guy of Gisborne.
Lawful Evil?
Lawful Evil.
Yeah, Lawful Evil.
Good henchman.
Definitely.
He always plays a great bad guy. He played a great bad guy in the Disney Three Musketeers.
I would love to see him in a romance.
Hello, my dear.
Let me tell you how.
Or like animated.
I have no idea.
You could pair him with whoever did the voice for Ursula.
Oh, wow.
Little Mermaid. You could have an
poor
animated.
unfortunate soul.
I love you. No, I love you.
It's just too much scotch.
Dr. Girlfriend.
Dr. Girlfriend.
Oh, honey.
You know, you're looking
love
rather
you.
sexy tonight.
Yes, I love you too, honey.
Oh, dear God. This is amazing. We have two of them at the table.
I actually have a Dr. Girlfriend costume in my closet.
That's awesome. I can't say that.
So check our Instagram
I'd like
feed.
to say it, but I can't.
Which needs to be updated.
Michael Wincott would be Lawful Evil in this.
Yeah.
Guy Gisborne. He was
Definitely.
straight up 100% henchman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should
I
have
would
died
say,
sooner,
though,
but yes,
not to
definitely.
go into the other. I'm sorry for running over you there.
No.
The best Gisborne is the new BBC Gisborne.
Yeah.
He is fucking
great.
good, and he's nuanced.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Michael Wincott does lack nuance.
yeah, he is bad guy. Okay, bad guy.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, that is the best portrayal I've ever seen of Guy of
Oh my
Gisborne.
God. There are at least 5 characters in this movie. 5 actors.
Mm-hmm.
Who 6?
Yeah,
who are
we can-
nothing but
we're-
voices.
Yeah.
They're nothing but voices.
Right.
Christian Slater's nothing but a voice.
Brian Blessed.
Yeah.
Brian Blessed,
Mhm.
Morgan Freeman, Alan Rickman,
Yeah.
Michael Wincott, Sean Connery.
I would
all straight up just they are voices in a body.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Brian Blessed is like a force of nature. That fat fuck has hiked up Kilimanjaro, man. I mean, he hauled his 300-pound frame up Kilimanjaro. That guy is not to be fucking trifled with.
Right.
No.
Oh, God. And he did it when he was like almost 60?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was still very
I won't even
overweight.
imagine that at 60, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
that's
going to
only
link some
14 years.
videos of
Yeah.
Brian Blessed on here on our show notes. I recommend at some point you just stop listening to this and go watch those videos because they're way more entertaining.
I think I've mentioned it before. There's my favorite video of Brian Blessed is someone was
the
doing
fight with Peter O'Toole.
There's
Those
that.
are the best.
No. But this was done a number of years ago. It's like BBC is interviewing him, and like it was like some anniversary of Flash Gordon, and so like they're showing him clips of him in Flash Gordon,
And he's like, look at my thighs.
look at my glorious thighs. I was so well built. And I'm no longer. I'm not fat then, and it's so great. And then you find out he does the voice of the main Gungans in Star Wars. You know, the Phantom
Boss
Menace.
Nass.
Yeah,
That's
There's
right.
a really great interview with him.
Yeah,
talking
I've seen
about-
that too.
Yeah. About he was telling George,
Anyway.
George, you can't do it this way. This is, no. You have to do it this other way.
And then we round into Geraldine McEwen, who played Mortiana, the witch, another
Fucking
NPC.
chaotic evil.
Yeah.
She-
I'm gonna
They went straight
I'm gonna
for
say
it.
lawful evil.
Hmm?
She was trying to influence her son, the
I
sheriff.
agree.
Um,
Which you only find out that's her son through the expanded version,
Yeah.
which should, I mean, for no other reason, there's things to pick up for that version.
Oh my God, I read the novelization of this as a kid.
Yeah,
That's
what.
fucking
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, it's that.
It's
so,
in the novel.
so take the expanded version of the movie. That's
I
the
still
that's
have
the
the
novella,
novel.
the movie for it, the book version. Fuck,
I don't often.
It's this.
in that
It's this
crate
fucking
over
thing.
there.
Reverse, rewind, go back,
Yeah,
play again.
exactly.
That's right.
Mhm.
I would say because we saw the extended.
Yeah.
I would say
I didn't
in
watch
that
the extended.
context,
Yeah.
lawful evil.
Mm.
Now, a lot of the scenes that made me establish that were cut from the main theatrical. So I will accept either answer.
The Costner cut.
Mm.
I felt that she was.
Fucking
I felt that she was chaotic evil, but then again, I'm also old school enough on the. You know what? I'm guilty. I'm guilty of the same for the same reason that I say that lawful good is the best alignment. I'm a hypocrite because I always just immediately lump chaotic evil as the villain. But really, chaotic evil can be more nuanced.
I know. I remember the Sneakers episode.
No, I didn't. What does that have to do with chaotic evil?
The Cosmo. The Cosmo fight.
Cosmo was lawful evil.
Maybe it's just those radical sides, one side, the other side.
The witch. It's hard to say without those scenes. Again, if we're going to go with, I think her character was completely invented for this fucking movie too.
Oh yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So
it's actually a ripoff of parts of the Arthurian legend, and they just took the Morgana. What was her Morgane?
Yeah,
Bruce, something like that. They just
changed it.
They just cut and
tossed that in there, and then we'll make her seem evil.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, we have.
How about Azim, huh?
Let's see. That's an NPC. That's an NPC. That's an NPC. That's a.
How about Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, we did. I thought we talked about him. Morgan Freeman is Azim.
Oh, good. That's right.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the second person.
We did.
Fuck all of you.
Like in a row or at the same time, you fucking pervert.
The rest of this is all NPCs with Little John, Duncan, the Bishop, Wolf, Bull, Much, and then very much an NPC. Sean Connery is King Richard the First.
Who is Much?
There was Bull, the guy that was talking about how
was it the idiot again? Next to him?
It was his best friend. Yeah.
All right.
And then Sean Connery is King Richard the First.
Yeah, none of those.
So
that's all I got.
Have for us, Matthew. Where does the story go?
Well, we're going to follow. I mean, Robin Hood is obviously fictional, but the time period does exist and is fairly well documented. What happens next is Richard, when he returns for the wedding, is not actually returning in triumph and glory. He was seized on the way home from getting his ass whooped, and in Germany, I believe, he was seized and then ransomed off, and that's where all the money was going out of England, was to pay for his fucking ransom. Richard had this nasty habit of treating England like his bank account to pay for his armies. So you have Richard returning, and he immediately goes to war with France because his brother John is involved in an uprising in Normandy. So after the events of this movie, there is an immediate war that the PCs can take place in. I'm going to cast Robin Hood in this as an NPC under the control of the DM, because while his supporting cast has various skills that would lend themselves to being a PC, Robin Hood is basically the solver of all, and is kind of too powerful. It's OP. No one else would have fun with Robin Hood being a player character.
It's like if we ran a game based on The Matrix, you don't get to play Neo.
Yeah,
exactly.
You just don't. So what would happen in this particular scenario is good King Richard, and I have some thoughts about him being good, which I'll go into some other time.
Yeah. We're going to stick with lore.
Yeah. Was a decent military commander, did have some victories. In fact, he had most of the victories that happened. So he would take what is effectively a band of skirmishers and scouts and use them to good effect in his campaign. And 5 minutes of research on Wikipedia will give you years of campaign ideas, up to and including Richard's eventual death at the hands of a kid with a crossbow.
You know, crossbows are fucking heinous, and everybody thinks of D&D. They're like, "Oh, crossbows! They just do 1d8 fucking damage."
Jesus!
I ended up playing in a Burning Wheel game once, where bows and crossbows are fucking heinous, and like we were being hunted by an assassin with a crossbow, and we were fucking scared. We're like, that dude can just shoot us dead. We need to figure out how we're going to. Yeah. So sorry, keep going.
That's basically it. I mean, you have this huge body of events. Like the campaign is very well laid out. He lands in Normandy, immediately takes over a small manor on his beachhead. The PCs will be sent out as scouts on foraging missions to find where, I believe it's Philip II, the French king at the time. Find out where his forces are. There's an awful lot of work that the PCs can be put to. But the very best part is at the end of this campaign, after Richard dies, John becomes king because he had forgiven him and named him as his regent. So once again, after they have gotten done serving their king so very well, they're going to go back to England and be wanted men again.
Because John holds a grudge.
That's
John does hold a fucking grudge.
Back to the front, kids.
Yeah, that's what I got. Get back in the woods. You're not welcome here.
Yeah.
And then we just continue the adventures, the raids, the plotting, the rob from the rich, give to ourselves, and the
work
rest
towards
of the poor.
being the heroes.
Yeah.
Or not.
Depending on how you want to play the history, you could eventually end it up with Robin Hood standing over John with a bow to his head while he writes the fucking Magna Carta. I mean, you could literally take it all the way to the first fundamental establishment of human rights like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it would be a
it.
very long campaign, but there's a lot of stuff to be mined for that.
Well, we have characters.
Mhm.
We have where to go next. Let's talk about how to mine this for gaming ideas. We've got what themes are present here. Clearly, it's a party. It's kind of game where you're going to have a group. You're going to have a headquarters. You're going to have, an iconic character who brings everybody together, but probably the players aren't going to be that character because a game that focuses on one player falls apart. Yeah.
Because not everybody can be Dragonborn.
And either that or sometimes that person doesn't show up. And if that person doesn't show up, you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Playing Robin Hood. Robin Hood's not here. Shit.
Go back to killing rats.
I think it's much better to have the master of the game controlling that.
Yeah, you've got that feeling of the anti-authoritarianism.
Mm-hmm.
You've got damn the man kind of ideals. Yeah. This is just classic D&D game, man. I mean,
it's all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play D&D. You could play Tunnels and Trolls. You could play Hackmaster.
We don't really need anything special to play a bunch of people with bows in the woods.
Yeah.
Right.
Bows and sticks and
Or
swords. I
rogues
mean, come
especially
on.
if you're playing this particular movie's Robin Hood.
Right.
You could magic exists. You have your witch.
Whether or not that magic is real.
Yeah, well, it depends on whether you watch the extended cut or not. But you can do that. You could port this straight into any version of D&D.
I mean, hell, you could probably play the same games that you played the Three Musketeers. It's essentially the same thing, but with bows.
Right.
And there's some swashbuckling fighting, but we talked
anything
about
that has a rule for swinging on ropes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that has a system for
chandeliers,
sneaking,
stunts for
thieving,
really good ranged attacks.
Right.
Honestly, guys,
possibly even assassinations and whatnot using rogue skills.
If I were going to run this, I would just default to my good old standby Savage Worlds. But I don't have to.
What you got?
Because there's a bunch of other games out there, none of which I have read.
Shelves.
I just built a list because I'm going to run Savage Worlds if I run this, but I do want to mention other games.
And I have one I want to toss in on that too.
Well, go ahead and bring yours up.
I want to talk about Hackmaster for a second.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Hackmaster is made
Hackmaster
to be slightly ridiculous, but still terrifying.
It's a perfectly playable joke of D&D.
Yeah, and people die messy in Hackmaster, which I think is brought into from this movie specifically, was considered very brutal for its time. So you want people that when they die, they can't just get rezzed. You can't just drag them over to the priest and, hey, bring them back. Here's 200 gold. It has to be a real death. People will succumb to real injuries. And what I like about Hackmaster's leveling system is that first level or 8th level, a crossbow bolt to the chest is going to fuck you.
I think a crossbow bolt is going to fuck you no matter what level you are.
Well, in Hackmaster, yes, but when you're getting more hit points all the time, it doesn't stack. All of a sudden you become bulletproof.
It depends upon the kind of focus that you want. Like if you just want like a swashbuckling, hey, we're going to go out and fight the king's men, and the kind of stuff, or the sheriff's man.
When you killed the sheriff's man,
I've been waiting the whole podcast so far to
I've used that so many other episodes that I decided I made a Wagon Con decision not to mention that.
You can play so many different fun swashbuckling systems. You can play 7th Sea. You can play Savage Worlds. You can play Regime Diabolique, which you talked about. We could play any number of the Three Musketeers games. if you wanted to make something more focused on the characters and like their internal struggles, or, you know, like let's take the character of Robin of Locksley and say what matters most in this game is his passion. We're not necessarily concerned about the fighting. We're concerned about his passion to rob from the rich, to give to the poor, to get his lands back, and to fuck the Sheriff of Nottingham. Okay, so now we can build a campaign based upon those as strong character goals, and we can play something like Burning Wheel. Burning Wheel is an extremely brutal system, but it's driven by characters' beliefs. And, you know, rob from the rich, give to the poor, that's a great instinct. And fuck the sheriff is a great belief.
Right.
I would say that the underlying theme of this movie is setting traps and redistribution. I pulled a Dusty. Redistribution of wealth.
Yeah.
Robin Hood has a number of fascinating ways that he attacks. He has little tarps covered with things that he rolls under in this movie. He swings from the trees. He's got forest camo on. There's a lot of different ways that he waylays people. And I think that's something that the system, whatever we choose, should take into account for, is the disguise and trap phase before the actual, and they leap out with bows.
True.
He comes out of a pit. He's got 2 hooks and puts it on the back of the white. That's a great fucking trap.
You've been attacked by a shrubbery.
However, a lot of that you don't need a system for that kind of stuff. So much of that is simply describing what you're doing. Like, I don't need rules to say that if I'm going to put hooks on a thing and attach it to a tree, it's going to rip the carriage apart. Yeah. I don't need a trap mechanic for something like that. You could play some old school D&D with just some 6 stats, hit points, and an armor class and go to town on it. However, other games can still do that in a way that does incorporate that as a mechanic. Savage Worlds has the concept of tricks and things that you can pull to establish facts about the scene. Even Fate could do something like that. Again, I'm not an expert on Fate, but I think a Fate game like this could actually work pretty well. We have so many different games to run for Robin Hood. It's so classic, and everybody's got their own take on it. We could do a grimdark Robin Hood set in the Warhammer universe. We could do, a fun swashbuckly Three Musketeers style.
The fun thing about Robin Hood is that it translates, because the basic concept is very simple. It's taking care of those less fortunate than you. It's the gentry actually caring about the peasantry. And you could literally do that in any universe. You could do that in Star Wars. You can do that, like you said earlier, in Warhammer. You can, the concept and the feel of Robin Hood has become such a part of our collective unconsciousness that you can apply it to anything. You could play it in Rifts.
Right. Kind of makes you wonder, would Batman and Robin Hood get along?
I think they would.
Well, if we're doing this movie, I think that he'd kill him off pretty fast.
I almost feel like Batman would feel like Robin Hood's a villain, though. You know?
Yeah.
He always kind of takes that standpoint initially.
Yeah, Batman's on the side of the cops.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Batman
versus Robin Hood.
Yeah. It would be interesting.
It would be an interesting, yeah.
I would pit the weakest of the Batman movies against Robin Hood. That Batman against Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. Kevin Costner's
George
dead.
Clooney.
Is that the weakest?
I think Val Kilmer is the weakest.
I have to say Val
George
Kilmer
Clooney
too.
was in the 4th one.
Yeah, the Clooney film.
Yeah, the 4th one was the absolute worst.
Fan of that one.
The 3rd one was terrible.
Wasn't that one
I think
the one with
Clooney has a strength of
chill. Everybody get down and chill.
Yeah,
You know?
I think Clooney
had a good Batman though.
Clooney had nipples. That movie was so bad.
Don't be scared of the nipple, man.
That I did not care for.
Well, I just say Val Kilmer did trash. His was garbage.
Yeah, but they were. Yeah. Anyway, the Schumacher films were terrible.
I didn't really drag us here.
I do want to give a shout out to various Batman. Let's just watch Batman.
Yeah.
To various Robin Hood games that I did look up online. And first one I give a shout out to, if any of you are familiar with a series of books from a company called Osprey. Osprey does military simulation historical fact books aimed at gamers. They are incredibly factually accurate and give things like weights, distribution, sizes, unit compositions of things. They are they've been going for decades. The Osprey books are considered like.
Are those for more miniatures?
They
like
used
wargaming
to be,
or were they like the hexagon games, the hex games?
They used to be very heavily focused on people who wanted extremely realistic miniatures reenactment of war based on various periods, and they have hundreds of books on various periods, various nationalities, eras. Osprey books are like considered the number one stop that you go to if you want an in-depth gamer-focused military resource.
Okay.
However, in the last decade or so, Osprey has branched out into fantasy as well. They have Osprey's books on. They have a book on orcish military tactics, and it's amazing.
I think I've seen that.
I kind of want to.
I think I've seen these at Guardian. They're like a
Guardian has an Osprey spindle.
Like I picked up the actual revolutionary, rifle weaponry, and then underneath it's like the spaceships of whatever. And I'm like,
I used one of their books on Sengoku era Japan as a reference when I was writing Moto Bushido. Like, it's really good stuff. And they have a Robin Hood book about Robin Hood, the legends of Robin Hood, the tactics of Robin Hood, the specialties of Robin Hood, the lore versus, comparing it to the reality of the time and so on. So if you want to start somewhere, and if you got a game that you already want to run, but you want to get some facts, or you want to kind of supplement your gaming material with some cool shit, get the Osprey Robin Hood book. You can get it on DriveThru RPG. Or you can get the physical book. Just order it from Osprey. There's also a fantastic looking game on DriveThru called Sherwood, The Legend of Robin Hood, which had a Kickstarter a while back, and they are compatible with Pathfinder, D&D 5th edition.
Good, you love Pathfinder.
And Swords and Wizardry. All so three different variants of D&D.
Your eyes went to my Kevin Costner face. That's fantastic. You love Pathfinder. I will kill your family.
Yeah. There is a GURPS book on Robin Hood because there's a GURPS book on everything.
Yeah, right? That's fair.
GURPS is a great resource for any topic ever if you are a gamer. They're frequently geared towards the GURPS system, but you can just extract the system. Like GURPS Space is a really fantastic resource if you're ever going to run a space game in any system whatsoever. Okay, and then the one that I found the most interesting, and I'm going to share a link to it, is a game called Hood. It is a foreign game. I do not recognize the language, some weird European language. I don't think it was German. I think it might have been Swedish or
maybe Icelandic.
Or Icelandic. I don't know. It was a fucking beautiful game because European games are almost universally gorgeous. It's called Hood. I don't think it's been translated to English yet.
So if you want to play this, get bilingual, motherfucker.
Right. Bilingual. But there will be a link to it. Robin Hood is an extremely wealthy topic to mine for gaming material. It's classic. It's one of the most classic stories of gaming adventure. You've got King Arthur. You've got Robin Hood. Well, I mean, if you're white. I guess other cultures have their things, but white dudes.
Yeah. We have mined King Arthur and Robin Hood for everything. There's another Robin Hood movie coming out in the next couple of months. So
really?
Yeah, it's got the kid from
Kingsman.
Yes, the Kingsman movies, yes. And Jamie Foxx is playing the version of
it looks very action, eye candy kind of. I mean, I don't see a lot of dialogue.
Can't be worse than this one.
You would have to.
It's true.
You would have to try to be worse than this one.
Apparently, the guy that's playing the sheriff is the guy that played Kennick in Rogue One.
Which one was Kennick?
He was the one in the white with the cloak that was after.
The scientist bureaucrat guy.
Yes. He's playing, and he's wearing a very similar cloak, only it's gray, while everybody else is wearing like blacks. And he's playing, I think, the sheriff.
Okay.
So all those games that we've mentioned, I just do Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I could do it. I can run it. I don't
I'm
even
glad
need
you
to take the
didn't
book
go
off
with
the
the
shelf.
one that's not in English. Because I'd be like, motherfucker.
We don't know what it says, but it's fucking pretty.
It looks really nice.
Time to get the Duolingo app.
we did. The first thing I did say is that this was a D&D game.
Yeah.
And Sherwood
It honestly
works with
is.
I can see
Pathfinder.
it.
It works with 5th edition D&D, and it works with Swords and Wizardry if you're into old school gaming. All 3 of these are variants of D&D. So, if D&D's your jam, it's kind of my jam.
If you take it back to 2nd edition, it literally says that Robin Hood is chaotic good.
Yeah,
when it's
Hood
doing
is
the
like-
alignments.
Yeah.
It says, think of Robin Hood.
Palladium has a long bowman. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, that was our game. That was our movie. Let's stop talking about it.
Yeah,
now.
let's never speak of this again.
Let's talk about what's.
I would like to say that I'm glad you guys, less you and more you, have
They pointed to me first, and then Dusty.
of your infatuation with this horrible shit actor, and that you will no longer trouble my ears with your faint praise of this fucking walking turd.
Dances with Avatar.
So the next movie that we're doing is 3,000 Miles to Graceland with Kevin Bacon and Robin Hood.
And you're so fucking lying.
Oh, right.
Motherfucker, I've seen the numbers on this next set of movies.
Yeah, it's Westerns next, right? Classic
Our
Westerns.
next is classic Westerns. We had 4 lined up. You guys want to go down the list and talk about which one won?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. I am looking forward to that, actually.
With only... I'm looking at the wrong movies. Well, with 0% of the vote is Shane.
Yeah, I didn't even vote for my own suggestion.
I know at
Nobody
least
wanted to vote for that.
Silverado did not take last place.
With 7% is Silverado.
Yeah. Because such a good movie,
Did you suggest that?
Yes.
With
okay.
27%
Like
is
nobody
The
else seemed to care.
Magnificent Seven. And with 67% of the vote is the vastly superior film, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I
And that's
did
what we're
select that
doing.
myself.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm an Eastwood fan. I love the spaghetti westerns as well. So
It is a perfect film for its genre. Like, it is an iconic.
It made
movie.
Clint Eastwood who he is. That whole series of movies that he did, the quote unquote spaghetti westerns.
The discussion of who Clint Eastwood is in present day is a different podcast.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So following that, we've got another vote that we're going to open up.
Oh yeah, because something really bad happened.
Unfortunately, we lost a good one. This last couple weeks. Smokey.
Yeah,
Bandit? No, he was the bandit.
Yeah, he was the
mustache.
bandit.
Yes, he was.
Bandit.
We lost the mustache.
We lost the mustache.
And the laugh. And that laugh.
Burt Reynolds has departed our world. So we're going to do him some honors. And we're going to have a Burt Reynolds themed vote. We've got 4 movies that we're going to talk. Burt Reynolds movies. We came up with this tonight. We changed the rotation just so we could talk about Burt here. We have the 4 movies are one that I've never watched called Gator.
Gator's good.
Suggested this
It is a good movie. It is good.
We've got Cannonball Run.
Yes.
It's a great movie.
Classic.
Yes.
I think.
Deliverance.
Also a classic in a different way.
Classic movie.
A lot of references on that one.
Yeah.
Raping and rednecks. Dungeon crawl.
You got a bird in mouth.
Squeal for me.
And Smokey and the Bandit.
Those are good picks.
Those are good picks.
When does that go live? We
It's
should do
gonna
that when we drop this
live
one.
as soon as this episode drops. So
Okay.
if you're listening to this, the votes are live. Go vote.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Vote
Do
soon.
it.
Vote often. And
Vote for
Smokey and the
Deliverance.
Bandit.
I respect
this
it
is-
for what it is. It's just it's not one of my like, hey honey, let's watch Deliverance
Yeah,
tonight.
it's no Kevin
Yeah.
Costner 50th sport fucking movie.
I will
but-
say that this will be an
You're not wrong.
interesting vote.
Yeah.
You're what?
I don't know how it's
I
going
was
to go.
kind of happy to hear that Boogie Nights wasn't included in that.
No, it's,
You know?
That's a Mark Wahlberg film.
Yeah.
It's,
And we were
it's
thinking
not
classic.
really focused so
Yeah.
much on him. Otherwise, you might as well throw in the one stripper movie with Demi
Striptease?
Moore.
Yeah, striptease. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Also
we
Burt
wanted
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping we'd put in The Longest Yard, but that didn't make it.
I kind of wanted to put in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Well, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's just going to be
It was
to
a
like
good
All Dogs
movie.
Go to Heaven, and it's going to be like 1,000 people.
I'll tell you, honestly,
I love
Dusty,
dogs and I don't know what's going on.
I don't think
What's wrong with you
sports movies are going to lead themselves to role playing very well.
No, this is true, but I'm saying
Yeah.
just on a movie level. I know.
Ooh, yeah.
I know.
I've got an idea for a sports movie, though. We'll
What?
talk about it later. I've got an idea for a game for sports movie. A way to do it. without sucking.
Yeah.
Well, you
We'll
did
talk about
say
that if we ever
actually
do
you did
sports.
say the last time because that a similar topic came up. It'd be just bring in that old football magnetic thing and plug it in and let it
vibrating.
Yeah,
it just move. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back with our next episode. I was Matthew,
and I was Dusty,
and I'm Nathanael,
and I'm out of here. This is Marcus.
Thanks for listening, and remember, next time, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm. And thanks for joining in tonight, Marcus.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks for listening to another episode of our show. We're still pretty new to the scene, and we'd love to get your feedback. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review on iTunes with your thoughts. Good or bad, they really help us get the word out. If you want to say hello, drop us a line on all of the usual social media sites. You can find the links right there in the show notes. You can also leave us a comment on our website at havemovieswillgame.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Have Movies Will Game is a Breakfast Puppies podcast production, and our episodes are distributed under CC BY-ND 4.0 license. Our opening theme is Rock and Gravel by Sid Valentine's Patent Leather Kids, with introductory narration provided by Isaac Sher. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.